Hey everyone, this is Drew back with the top 4 from the Glendale, Wisconsin City Championships. In this matchup, we're going to see Toby Nelson on the left with his traditional ZPST take on Kyle Sucevich on the right with his Typhlosion Magnezone deck. Now, we're going to see Kyle go first right off the bat and have to Collector. Now, he did play the Cleffa which he was really just afraid of getting FTK'd there, I feel, and probably the Cleffa was his only other basic. So rather than risk getting his lone Cyndaquil knocked out, he probably played the Cleffa, which is a safe play. And he does have to Eek anyways, so it worked out for him. He grabbed 2 Magnemites and Cyndaquil with the Collector and chose to Eek. Now, Kyle's deck is a little slow, so he could be in some trouble this game if Toby Nelson really fires off quickly. Unfortunately, Toby started with a Pachirisu, which indicates that he probably won't be able to attack this turn, and the Cleffa stayed asleep anyways, so he would have had a bunch of hurdles to get over to be able to attack this turn. Now he does Dual Ball, one falls out the table, and that one is a heads for sure. I don't really know how many he got, but at least one Pokemon comes out for him. Now, Kyle's deck is slow. He's gonna have to probably Eek a few times here before he gets out of Magnezone, and Magnezone is the key to his deck. I mean, he's cut 9 tails for Magnezone. That's 4 cards versus 8. So in order to fit that Magnezone into his deck, he probably cuts some sort of draw along the way, and he's not going to be very consistent before that Magnezone comes down. So it looks like Toby actually got 2 heads with that Dual Ball. He's really contemplating here. He grabs a Pachirisu, which probably indicates that he has a few energy in his hand. If he had no energy, he probably grabs 2 attackers and plays a draw supporter. But it looks like he has some sort of energy option to go with. Now he opts to go Zekrom over Tornadus. In my eyes, Kyle's deck's pretty slow, so the Tornadus is maybe a safer play. He can really use the Tornadus' 80, knock out some basics, while powering up the Zekrom on the bench. And the Zekrom's going to be safe for a while because it won't be taking that self damage from its attack. And I mean, Toby did have to play DCE here, so I think the Tornadus is a safe play because when he Shamans, I mean, he could put the DCE and the Lightning on the Tornadus and then move the other Lightning to the Zekrom or the Pachirisu that's active depending on his hand, and he might have been able to retreat and attack with Tornadus with a catcher, or if he had to pass, if he whiffed the catcher, he could have put it on the Zekrom and really had the Zekrom start being powered as well. So it looks like he got 2 Tornadus, a Zekrom, a Juniper, and I think a Shaman as well. So he didn't quite get there in my eyes. So I would like to see a pass out of him instead of the Shaman. It's not too big of a deal, and you could actually argue for the Shaman because Kyle plays so many ends, and the ends would potentially disrupt the Shaman. He might not get it back. So he does choose the Shaman. Like I said, I would like to see the Tornadus powered up. Maybe Toby's afraid of that Magnezone coming down and just quickly lost burning the Tornadus because it is weak to lightning. But I mean, I hate to see all those energy on the Zekrom like that. The DC doesn't really do anything for the Zekrom, and it's kind of a wasted attachment almost. And we do see Kyle has to Eek again. He gets a fire and play on the Cyndaquil, but nothing else, so he completely whiffed with that hand. Just a wasted turn there, pretty much. And Toby is probably going to be able to start rolling here. He does have a Juniper, and he'll probably get at least the energy to retreat. Catcher's not out of the question. And Kyle stayed asleep again, so he does need a catcher, and he chooses the Pont instead of Juniper. He had a few attackers in that hand, and you can definitely Pont in that situation instead of Juniper to save them for later. So we will see Toby. He's digging for an energy and a catcher. Alright, see what happens here. And looks like a Juniper, energy, catcher, Juniper, and Zekrom plus power. So he got there. He got both the cards he needed, and we'll be interesting to see what he actually knocks out here. Now you could argue really for Cyndaquil or Magnemite. Personally, I would take out the Magnemite 100% of the time. The Magnemite is the key to Kyle's deck, and like I said before, I mean, if Kyle's playing the traditional version, I would say sure take out the Cyndaquil, because the Ninetales is only 4 cards in his deck at that point, and he still plays a lot of draw. It's a lot easier to fit 4 cards into your deck than the 8 that I assume he has cut from Magnezone. So, assuming he has a 3-2-3 Magnezone line, he definitely had to cut some sort of consistency card along the way, and his deck is going to run like garbage as we were seeing before that Magnezone comes out. If he keeps whiffing on the Magnezone, the rare candy combo, he's gonna draw horrible until he gets that. So in this situation, I probably would have brought the Magnemite up and knocked it out instead of Cyndaquil, and we are gonna see Kyle leak again. So yeah, his deck is really running poorly without this Magnezone in play. So he did get a collector, he has a Reshiram in play, and the Cyndaquil again. And he probably plays like a 4-2-4 line of Typhlosion, so knocking out the Cyndaquils don't really hurt him that badly. He only needs 1 Typhlosion out, and he can afford to lose a few Cyndaquils along the way. So we will see an Eviolite a turn late out of Toby. Just unfortunate, he couldn't get everything he needed last turn. And we will see probably some sort of draw out of him. He had a bunch of Junipers. Not sure what else he would run. And he is going to play a plus power. Maybe he's looking to knock out the Reshiram this turn. I don't really get behind that move either. Like I said, I would like to see these Magnemites go down. But the Typhlosion is a big threat. Or, I mean, the Reshiram is a threat. Because Kyle can knock out the Zekrom and put itself in blue flare range. We will see the Pont. Hopefully he grabs another energy off that, power up that Tornadus on his bench. And we really see the downfall of going aggro Zekrom early here. If he had chose to use Tornadus, like I said, he would have no threat from that Reshiram. His Zekrom would have at least 1 energy on it, maybe 2 after this turn. And the Tornadus would be tearing up Kyle's field because he did get a catcher. So instead of having to go up to this Reshiram, he could have realistically knocked out 2 Magnemites by now and crippled Kyle's setup. So Toby has taken 2 prizes to Kyle's none. And Kyle goes in and promotes the Cleffa. We'll see what he got off this Eek. I'd like to see at least a Typhlosion. Alright, so he does, he's slowly getting there. And he has the communication, so he will get a Magnezone out as well. This is really Kyle's first turn doing significant plays all game. And he has an N as well. N really cripples Toby's deck. He doesn't play a draw Pokemon. Well, he does play a lot of draw cards. The odds of whiffing off of the constant ends are pretty high. At some point, you're probably going to whiff if your opponent keeps using N versus you. So we will get 4 cards. Didn't quite catch what he got there. Well, Kyle gets 6. Alright, so let's see what Kyle has. It looks like a Magneton's in his hand. Yep, indeed he has a Magneton. So next turn, Magnezone's a real possibility. It took all game, but looks like Magnezone's finally going to see some play. Alright, now, Kyle's a little bit of a choice here. What he wants to Afterburner on. I wouldn't put it on the Typhlosion. We see that Toby plays plus power. He used one last turn to knock out the Reshiram. So you want to keep your Pokemon as far away from 120 as possible. 130 is a little too close. And he does choose to put it on the Magnezone. The Magnezone gets knocked out regardless if it gets attacked. So he can put it on the Magnezone safely. He has a second Magnezone, and he doesn't really care if one goes down. So he did choose to catch her up with Shaman. That really will put Toby behind another turn. He missed the attachment last turn, and he's going to have to waste his one this turn retreating. So kind of a bad spot for Toby. He's not really drawing as well as he would have hoped. And he will have to Junk Arm here for a catcher. So he's going to choose to just knock out this Magnezone, which is probably what Kyle wanted. You really wanted to keep that Typhlosion safe. And really here you see if Toby would have been catching these Magnemites and Magnezones all along, Kyle would really not have much going for him. But instead we see the Magnezone come down, and this Zekrom has been using Bolt Strike over and over again, so it really doesn't have much HP left, and the Eviolite is not going to play a huge role. Kyle, I can't imagine him getting a second Typhlosion out this turn. He would have really had to hit the goods. But we will see a Junk Arm for a Communication. Now Kyle hasn't played a Rare Candy yet, so he would have to draw into that, and I just can't really see that happening. So we will see him use that Communication, maybe grab another Magnemite or Quilava. Either of those are safe plays, and he will choose the Quilava. And now out of Kyle, I would like to see a Lost Burn probably. If he has the Lightning, I would say Lost Burn 2 energies and put the Zekrom out of play. Toby has no attack next turn, and there's no downside to it, so it looks like that's what he's going to do. If he didn't have the Lightning, he would probably had to Eek again. So we will see the knockout, and Kyle takes his first prize. He's on the board, and I mean, he took that prize like turn 6, and luckily for him, Toby has been whiffing these attachments or wasting these attachments on retreats, so he's not going to face any attackers this turn. And it looks like Toby's hand was a couple of energy, which is not a good sign. This Magnezone is going to knock out either the Shaman, or if he has hit a lot of what he needs off these lost or magnetic draws, he can catch that Tornadus and keep Toby from attacking at all. And we will see if he does that. And I mean, Kyle's a lot of options at this point. If he has a switch, he can choose to switch off to another attacker instead of using this Magnezone. He really has everything going for him at this point. Even though he's down a couple prizes, it's tough to see Kyle losing from just looking at the two board positions. Night and day. Toby's side is just a couple Pachirisu and a Tornadus, whereas Kyle has a field full of stage 2s, 2 Typhlosions, a Magnezone. He just got out another Magnemite, which probably signals that he has a Magnezone for the turn after this one. And he did Junk Arm a bunch of energy to the discard pile to power up this Lost Burn. So he put the 2 energy on the Cleffa, which is fine. It really keeps the damage off the field and stops Toby from catching anything really. So Toby's up 1 prize right now, I believe 1 prize, and he did top deck a Pokegear, so he's gonna start slowly trying to set back up again. I like to see him probably grab the Juniper off this. There was Juniper and a Pont in this hand. Juniper is probably, it gives him the most value. He does have an energy in his hand, 2 energy I believe, so he's going to be able to attach 1 and Juniper the other way. It's not a big deal losing that energy. and we will see him. I think he's leaning towards the Juniper, which he does indeed grab. Even though he's up prizes, Toby might be thinking about scooping soon. I know it's tough to say. You hate to see it when he's up prizes, but he has nothing going for him this game. He can afford to play probably 2 more turns out. And I guess his deck is pretty fast, so he might not be that worried about time. But if it comes down to game 3, he's probably favored, so he's going to want to get that time situation over the next couple of games into his favor and try to time it out correctly. So we do see the Juniper. I saw a grass Pokemon of some sort. It didn't look to be hollow though, or had the same picture as Shaman. Maybe it's a Bellsprout. So he had a Bellsprout, which I guess is his Tech 4 Trainer Lock. It's not bad to have a backup plan versus that because Zekrom is so weak to that deck. And he did have a catcher in the hand as well, so he does have some options for the turn after. Now Kyle does indeed get that Magnezone out and chooses to play, looked like an N. So, I mean, if he hits a catcher off that, Toby's sitting dead in the water. He put all his energy on that Tornadus, which was really his only play, and any catcher would be devastating right here. See what Kyle gets. He does get the catcher, so yeah. Toby's really only option there was to scoop. Kyle would have taken a prize every turn after easily, I imagine. So, I mean, I would like to see Toby gone after the Magnemite last game. We will see if he does that in game 2, and I'll be right back with that for you folks.